at the time, Atlanta didn't really have an identity. Either we tried to sound like New York, Miami based, or Cali. Cass, Goody, and T.I. changed that. Atlanta sounds. I think that, yeah, Southern Playalistic changed that. But you know what, man? I'm going to be real. Southern Playalistic gave us an identity in the fact that people noticed that we were down here rapping. But
Mm-hmm.
Southern Playalistic, I remember, I think Andre was on, it was an NPR episode where um, Ali Shaheed from Tribe was interviewing him or something like that. And he said when he first heard them, he thought they were from Cali or something. They sound like the hieroglyphics. And
Hieroglyphs.
I could hear that. Like, and from a production standpoint, it was kind of like that 93 to Infinity vibe to some extent, at least as far as the records that were coming out. I think they carved their own niche, but I do believe that Dirty South sound really starts with soul food sonically. Do you think I'm off with that? Because to me, soul food sounds like Atlanta as far as the stories go. You know what I'm saying? And the way they were shouting out certain streets, and it's different.
Here's how I always looked at it. Do you remember the interlude, the Welcome to Atlanta interlude from Southern
Mm-hmm.
Playalistic? I know you
Of
do.
course.
It's the record between Ain't No Thing and Southern Playalistic.
Yeah.
I always looked at Southern, in hindsight, as we got older, I always looked at Southern Playalistic. Here's what Southern Playalistic was. Remember when the guy's like, and over there you have East Point, College
Mm-hmm.
Park, and he's explaining like the parts of Atlanta and who Atlanta's home to.
Mm-hmm.
That is a microcosm of actually what Southern Playalistic is. It's giving you an overview of the city the same way that interlude on Welcome to Atlanta is. But when you get the soul food, Mike,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I'm on 1365 Wichita Drive.
Exactly.
All right?
It gets very
Remember,
specific with
they
soul
brought you
food.
down to the corner, Mike. Like me and my cousin Six talked all the time about CeeLo's verse where he talks about on Sesame Street, remember around the corner from Benjamin Mays? Because we used to have an aunt that used to stay up off of Mays, and it's like, no, I know the corner that he's talking about.
Bankhead seafood, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff like you really get actual pinpoint spots. It gets very specific with soul food.
Like when Cujo's on fight, and I went to this Texaco to holler at this Bezo. Right, it's getting specific to the corners, to the streets, to the dichotomy of Atlanta, but also an insight. Like, because here's the thing about it, and here's what was beautiful about soul food. It's like, well, we're very soulful and spiritual people, but we're thinkers, and soul food revealed us to the rest of the hip hop world. Is like, yeah, these country ass niggas think though, like cell therapy.
Those interviews used to be classic. I remember when Joe Claire came down here and was talking to Goody Mob at Greenbrier, and at the time, CeeLo was calling himself the militant midget. And so they would go on these conspiracy theories on BET. Right. It was great. Right. They would have Goody Mob on Teen Summit, like just sitting there talking to the kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they took it a step further. And I remember Joe Claire saying when Soul Food came out, he was like, look, I'm going to keep it real, man. You guys are one of my favorite groups ever. Like, when they hit, soon as they hit, they hit. And I'm going to be real to the people out there. When Soul Food came out, I liked Goody Mob more than I like Outkast. Me personally, I did. Until ATLiens dropped. Until Elevators came out, I was more of a Goody Mob fan. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, couldn't do that. Won't be doing that.
I'm just being real, man.
No, I mean, you want to know what it's like? I relate. Like, how about this? The intellect in me, like, gets what you're saying, but I knew what Outkast was doing, and Outkast was putting us on the map, and that's why I kind of like was with it. Even if I thought Soul Food was better, it's like, nah, they doing what they got to do to put us on the map.
Oh, definitely.
Like, Outkast put us on the map. They did what they had to do to put us on the map, and they gave us a classic while they put us on the map. And so I heard the reverence of it different, and I also feel like Outkast taking the route that they took enabled Goody Mob to make an album more unique to Atlanta, like Soul Food. So I don't even think they have that creative leeway if Southern Playalistic doesn't pop. Because when Southern Playalistic popped and went platinum, it's like, well, let me show you what we can really do.
No, I agree with you.
The Soul Food came.
It wouldn't have worked in the inverse. Like, Goody Mob wouldn't have been able to be first to open the door for Outkast. No, I agree with that. But let me ask you this. What's the best song on Southern Playalistic?
Mike, I've always told you that I always go for what you don't get again. And what you get on Ain't No Thing, you never get again.
You think Ain't No Thing's better than Get Up, Get Out?
Get Up, Get Out is a crew record, Mike.
Wow.
Ain't No Thing is an Outkast record.
No, I agree with that, but I'm saying.
And so see, this is what I'm saying is that as great as Get Up, Get Out is, it's like, well, we have Thought Process, we have Black Ice, we have Decatur Psalm, we have Mainstream, we have Mamacita, we have
Y'all Scared and stuff, yeah.
Like on Ain't No Thing, Mike, it's 2 verses of Andre and Big Boy on some street shit, Mike.
Rapping
when are we getting that again?
2 verses each.
2 verses each, and Big Boy's freestyling at the end, and even the freestyle at the end is wild, and so is the hook, Mike. And so it's a special record in the sense that you never hear them rap like that again. There's never another song where they have 2 verses apiece like that again. They never talk like that again.
That beat used to be. You remember when Ludacris was Chris Lover, him and Poon Daddy, they had a radio show out here in Atlanta. In my opinion, the greatest radio show we've ever had in the city's history. But that used to be their intro.
Yes.
Yep.
Mike, the song starts off, Andre is loading up a gun and cocking it.
Niggas in the point ain't changed,
Niggas
man.
in the point ain't changed. Like when they talk ever been like that, and the energy is there, Mike. A nigga ready from the get go. Y'all get my shit blow. It's Andre. Can your punk ass come out to play? That's Andre talking like that. Can your punk ass come out to play?
Stay in your little hole.
Then coward duck your head. You don't know who you be fucking with. You better off. That is what I say. Best run the other way. I was like, oh no.
My personal favorite song on Southern Playalistic is Claiming True. I love that record.
I think
that's one of those songs that you're never gonna get again either.
Now hold on, Mike. I was about to say, for me, it was always between Ain't No Thing and Crumbling Herb. Actually, I always had Get Up, Get Out as third because I was like, well, that's posse cut stuff. And unless the posse, like, I'm always gonna pick the crew song over the posse cut song. It's like, well, I know Thought Process and Dirty South are probably the best songs on Soul Food, but Mike, there's something.
I disagree, but I feel you. I love those songs.
Yeah, they are. But there's something about
Cell Therapy. Cell Therapy is the best song on Soul.
Well, I was going to work in reverse, but there's something about Goodie Bag and there's something about Cell Therapy that if you feel that way, I'm not going to argue with you. I think Fighting is up there too.
Fighting is great. I think Dirty South's better than Thought Process, and I love Thought Process. I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Dirty South. I disagree with you vehemently about that. Dirty South's crazy. But I would say
it's not better than Thought Process. Just CeeLo and Andre on Thought Process alone is like literally like blowing.
Now the bar work, I think you're getting it confused. The bar work, yes, but if we talk about the better song,
message, Mike, like, are you listening to what they're saying? Like, there's bar work and then there's bar work that has a message and makes a point. And both of their verses are not just lyrical, but soulful, impactful.
Well, in that case, there's nothing on there better than Cell Therapy.
No, if you want to argue that, I was actually going to tell you.
And the song Soul Food is better too.
Listen to what I'm saying. Part of what makes Cell Therapy work, that's the best beat on the album. That's the best hook on the album.
Of course. Right. And then honestly, if we talk about CeeLo's verse, it's probably one of the best verses on the album. Me and my family moved to
CeeLo's verse on Goodie Bag.
Me and my family moved to our apartment complex. A gate with the serial code was put up next. They claim that this community is so drug-free. It don't look that way to me because I can see the young thugs hanging out at the store 24/7. Junkies looking for some endo to blow. It's powerful. And you know what else they trying to do? Make a curfew, especially for me and you. Come on, man. The new world order. Time is getting shorter.
His verse on Goodie Bag, Mike, was one of the best verses that year. First of all, I stand a little more than 5 feet tall, but we can still brawl, nigga. I ain't scared at all. I guess you niggas don't know or can't see that it ain't even why I step into me incorrectly. But yet, and still, if niggas feel and they deal, I will split your ass up for real. Because we the maniacs with the chunky goodie sacks. No, I don't carry an axe, but I still swing lumber with the lumberjacks. Tracks are being made by Ogano, IZE, while we chilling in the shade and getting paid for chilling, illin. No. That's the best verse on Soul Food. It's not even a question of that.
You think so?
For like 2 minutes. It's high level. I love the Goodie Bag, Mike. That's what I mean. Like, Goodie Bag is them on their rap shit. Put some fire on the ass end of that weed, because in the SWATs, red hots don't drip or bleed. That's them on their rap shit.
I think Cujo on Sesame Street. I think Cujo again on Cell Therapy. Like, this is some heavy lyrics.
I like Cujo's verse on Guess Who.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. CeeLo's verse on Guess Who.
To me, I thought that was his best verse. So that was my favorite Cujo
I'm
verse.
sorry, Coop. Guess Who's better than Thought Process in Dirty South too? It just is.
You're talking about the message.
It's an incredible record, man. I mean, you're just going off bar work.
I'm gonna play Soul Food tonight. I think I'm gonna play Soul Food tonight.
Born King with a super chat says, first female rap I heard was not Tina Marie. Square Biz, 1981. Yeah, Missy went and did that verse over on the Sierra joint. Born King also says, it was a line in the beautiful JJ's Rib Shack. I'm sorry, yeah, it was a line at the beautiful JJ's Rib Shack was packed too. Looking to be one of them days that mama ain't cooking. Everybody's out hunting with the family. Mad Max with the super chat says, Light, from what I heard, is the greatest female MC not named Lauryn Hill. That I never heard. I rank her second as a female. She don't get enough. She don't get enough for the credit. Mad Max also says, and Lady London, just from some freestyles, the best overall female rapper today. She just got to stop the IG challenge rap and focus on her female Hove persona. You got to make your own stuff. Mad Max also says, and be that female Hove for an album. Born King also says, Soulful remix of 8Ball and MJG. That's a classic. Greg Street used to play that a lot. I don't know how we got on that tangent, but I'm going to say that.
Yeah. No, I see people like shouting out Gip too. It's like, no. I follow Gip on the gram.
I love Gip, man. I think Gip has one of the best flows ever. And he did his thing on Soul Food, still standing. And again, I think his verse on Get Up, Get Out, and the fact that I guess they had to cut him out because, you could only have a single that was so long is a travesty. His verse on Get Up, Get Out is crazy. I hate that was cut out of the radio version.
He's probably, you could argue, he's probably taking more for the team than anybody else, maybe.
I'll say this about Gip, man. From a rap standpoint, and I think CeeLo might have said this on his Drink Champs, Gip was supposed to be the solo star, man. He was. I mean, we knew what CeeLo was.
You listen to a lot of these records, Mike. If you listen to Gip and if you follow Gip, it's like, no, you can hear Gip on a lot of these records that you don't hear Gip on.
I remember Pimp C saying, I think he was on Rap City when he said this. He was like, he's talking about people biting, and I love Pimp C because, he just kept it all the way real. But he said, man, when he did Big Pimpin', he said, man, I called Big Gip and was like, look, I want to use your flow for this song. Is that cool? And he did. And he was like, cool. Because Gip got that flow, man. And when you hear Pimp C's verse on Big Pimpin', yeah, it does sound like something Gip would do.
I never thought about that.
I remember. Do you remember that song that Gip was on 3-6's 66, 61 album?
66, yes, I sure do.
That nigga killed that shit. Don't give a fuck up saying blizzard, tough like chicken gizzard. It's like his flow was crazy. He has one of the best flows ever, for real.
He does. His flow is crazy.
But yeah, he was supposed to be the solo star. And when he dropped Serving, that was on that Shaft soundtrack, I was like, oh yeah, it's go time. But I don't know what happened. I think Gip was one of those guys that really loved working with the team. And maybe it was some label stuff. I don't know. But Gip definitely had the solo star power. I mean, I think that he was dressing that way before Dre was doing it, and Dre was kind of piggybacking off of some of the stuff that Gip was doing it. So,
when Gip and Joy were together, they used to come in the Dave & Buster's in the back.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
and Joy's a legend too. Shout out to Joy. She a legend too.
This is back in the day, Mike. So we might have been 19, 20, 21 back then,
yeah.
But I used to take care of them. And I ended up taking care of them like 3 or 4 different times. I mean, he's has an approachable and a nice and an everyday human being guy that you'll meet, period. Mike, fuck some rap shit.
Nah, man, I love
it. I was always so impressed about how, they would be asking me how I was doing and stuff and how like on some real people shit. You know what I'm saying? And I always remembered that. And it was one of those things that always, I think, made Goody Mob so endearing to this city because it's like well, I got a Gipp story like that, and somebody got a Cujo story like that, and a Timo story like that, and even CeeLo stories like that. Like, I mean, I ran into CeeLo in Greenbrier Mall one time, like right when they had become like big, like around Still Standing. I mean, he was still, you know.
Gipp's interviews are fire. Cujo actually hosted one of my group's mixtapes back in the day, and we brought Cujo into the studio, and it was crazy because we're young, we pretty much recorded a whole album and a mixtape at the time, but seeing him in the booth and hearing an actual seasoned artist, it was a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you collaborate with a lot of your friends or whatever, and you see them in the booth and you hear them in the booth, but when you hear somebody who's been doing this at the time, it might have been like 10 years. You're like, oh yeah, that's a big difference. His voice was, yeah, it was different. And I was on some fan shit. I was asking him stuff like, yo man, like, how did you guys not end up on Black Ice? And he was like, well, basically, we was all in the studio. Everybody fell asleep. We woke up. And the song was done. Simple as that.
Right. It'd be stuff like that. No.
That's why like, everybody was coming to take off for not being on Bad and Bougie.
You come to the studio, Mike. Yeah. You've come to the studio to do your shit and be like, hold on, that got made?
Yeah.
Be like, damn. They be like, yeah, you wasn't here last night. It's like, oh, damn. Like, play something for me now then.
That's cool. He was like, yeah, when he woke up, song was done. But again, that's another song that was letting people know that Gipp was coming as a solo artist. Because Gipp was a solo artist, CeeLo was a solo artist, and the Lumberjacks, Cujo and Timo were a duo. So it was a plan for all of those guys to be, what they were in that facet. Born King says the whole Goody Mob is approachable. Outkast are the same way too. Big Boy specifically. I've never ran into Dre, but I've heard for the people who have run into Dre, he is extremely approachable. But it's just you don't see him much, whereas you see Big Boy out a little bit more. Cool as hell, man. These global legends are some really cool people.
They are.
Yeah. It is what it is. But yeah, but shout out to Gipp. He got a smoke shop out here, and I think we're talking about doing some stuff, hopefully through our sponsor. I got to call our sponsor back. We talking about doing some more things as well. But yeah, I would love to have a conversation with Gipp because he gives some great interviews and gives some great insight from his experience, not only in the industry, but just in music, period, and just in life in general.